Municipality has promised to assist businesses that have been affected by the week-long looting and destruction of property we saw last week. This as the province and other parts of the country begin to restore and rebuild. eThekwini Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda joins me now to talk about this and more and what the city aims to do to assist those who are in need at this time. For questions and comments, send them through to 072-110-5584 right away, and you can tweet us as well at Newzroom 405. Mayor, good evening and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Thabo, and good evening to your viewers at home. Thank you for having us on the program.
The business community, Mayor, is hurt and it is devastated. One, because the city, the infrastructure, could not be able to protect them as far as intervention on time for them to be able to protect their businesses, protect their livelihoods, protect jobs, but most importantly, protect the economy of the city. What do you say to them at this time?
Yes, firstly, we've been hard at work just to ascertain that we engage communities in our city, as well as engaging the business sector through conducting assessment on the damages, which has brought about devastating effects to livelihoods where there are many people, and we anticipate that there are more than 150,000 people who may lose their jobs, as well as the impact it has had, especially to the businesses that were operating in the city, in which some of them is going to take from 6 months up to 18 months to recoup from where they've suffered so that they can reinstate their operations. But as a caring government, we've been interacting with them. The positive message which we receive from them is that most of businesses in eThekwini, they have given us an assurance that they would be retaining their investment in the city because of our own conducive policies, which really attracts more of investment in the city. And they are also committing themselves to work with us as government, to collaborate with us, just to ascertain that we rebuild and reconstruct our economy of our municipality. And we are still occupying the position of being the investment destination, which we are going to be working hard to ensure that we do not lose businesses. Instead, we are able to attract more businesses to the city. As we speak, tomorrow we'll be having an engagement with all the CEOs around our city of big companies, just to also give them an assurance in terms of the security arrangements that we are working together with law enforcement agencies to protect their businesses and also to protect the jobs in our municipality. So we are looking at many options. Our primary objective is to lobby national government to declare us as the province and the city as the disaster area, so that we can start working on and putting together, consolidating with the economic cluster departments, national and provincially, the interventions that we need to be making to assist businesses, looking at the issues of the supplementary evaluation of their rates through Section 78 of municipal property rates, as well as ensuring that those who are applying for the rates rebates, we also provide such so that we inject necessary growth to ensure that they are able to revive and reinstate their operations within our municipality.
Now, one would say the events of the past week are not necessarily policy issues. Yes, of course, the policies of the city are great and businesses would be attracted to them. But the biggest issue was the insufficient intervention from law enforcement agencies in a time of a riot to protect critical infrastructure. And that's what they would like to hear from you today. If I am to invest, we're talking here 20 billion in loss, literally. But if I go to put back just one store, one local business there in Bridge City Mall, we will need about R1 billion to fix. So if you want to put R1 billion, you need to know that the interventions will be in place to protect that infrastructure.
Yes, we wish to commend our metropolis for the limited resources that are at their disposal, but they've been responsive to many incidents, although their footprint was not found in each and every corner, because looking at the magnitude of these damages and how people have been involved taking actions in different areas at the same time, working with the SAPS. So we think that we still need to have a lot of investment in bringing about more resources to our metropolis, working with the SAPS as well to ascertain that our city is guaranteed in terms of safety. But we also look at how can we best mobilize communities, because the communities themselves, they rose to the occasion, looking at many areas in our city which businesses were protected as well as the properties. It's because of the initiatives from communities. And we have a firm belief and conviction that if we can continue to mobilize communities to rise to the occasion, to build a united front against crime, we'll be able to win this battle. Because it's all about putting the right strategies at the right time. Yeah. So our own social cohesion program of our municipality to bring communities together in the fight against crime, but also to diffuse some racial tensions which we have been observing for the past week in certain areas of our municipality.
I'm going to come to the racial areas, Mayor, racial tensions and issues in a moment. But let's stick with this one for a moment, because the Premier raises the same issue of the capacity of the police, not properly equipped. There are no, for example, water cannons and so on and so forth. There's no protection and so on and so forth. There's not enough men on the ground. You're raising a similar issue. Now, you're able to go to national and engage them and say, no, declare a disaster area so that we can be able to recover. Are you able to speak to your comrade, Uyagundosi, and talk to him and say, here is a deficit here. We don't have enough capacity. What are we going to do? Because that's what businesses would want to hear. Or is he on another faction that you're unable to reach him and speak to him and so that he can hear you?
No, we work very closely with the Minister of the Police and other ministers in our country. Let me give you a practical example. There is a joint program together that we are implementing with SAPS. We have established our fusion center where we apply technology. We are busy installing many cameras, CCTV cameras in our municipality. They've invested more than 50 million rand in the city. We are also investing some pockets of further injection to put those cameras, because we also believe that if the fusion center can be well equipped, can also work very closely with the SAPS as they are part of that fusion center, we'll be able even to stop incidents before they happen. Because we're supposed to detect things before they happen. We don't need to follow incidents after they've occurred. So it's therefore necessitate that together with the law enforcement agencies, we put necessary investment in our city. We'll be employing the additional metropolis officers of more than 200 personnel just to ensure that their footprint will also be found in different places. But that's not going to be the end of the road.
I'm not hearing, for example, your uproar, your protest at the fact that the Minister of Police would say to Parliament that I was not given a intelligence report, right? Was this report ever done? Were these areas identified? I mean, how would the police have responded effectively if there was clearly no intelligence given to them?
Now you are speaking to the mayor of the municipality. I'm not in charge of the state security.
But Mayor, you're in charge of the security of your city. You're in charge of the security of the city. The security of the city still would that responsibility would fall on you. I'm just saying, for you as a mayor to hear that there was no information that was given at all to protect your city, that should be something that concerns you.
No, listen, Thabo, we are doing our level best in interacting with the Ministry of the Police just to ascertain that our areas are safe. But we also identify another opportunity for us as a metro just to invest necessary resources so that we reinforce our metropolis, because we have been observing them that they've been doing very well in some incidents. It's just that we need also to protect them in terms of resourcing their own responsibilities, because they need body cameras and that must be budgeted for. They need a lot of resources that will enable them to deal and tackle the situations of this nature in a better way. So we will continuously engage with the Minister of Police, the Minister of Defense, and other ministries just to be able to ensure that we put necessary safety arrangements to protect our businesses, to protect our communities, but we also solely relying on what the committees will be doing in ensuring that the actions that we have been observing on the ground, where they came together and were able to defend effectively their businesses, their own infrastructure. So if we can put more concerted efforts in that as well, it will be able to really deal with the situation that we've been confronted with. But we acknowledge there has been some weaknesses, and those weaknesses will need to be attended to. But what this situation has exposed us to is the fundamental question of the relations between our communities in relation to the ownership of wealth. Yeah. So our people
that's what I want to come back to, because there is a question around community forums, right? We could possibly see ourselves in a situation where, again, businesses are unable to rebuild themselves because there are community forums who are demanding, and that's the word, demanding involvement in the projects of rebuilding. As a mayor, how do you intervene?
No, we've been intervening effectively, and we have many successes in that regard, because we have our own team which is negotiating with businesses, assisting local business forums. All what we reject are the people who are going to apply some illegal mechanisms of accessing opportunities of economy. Yeah. So we reject that. Those who are stopping projects, blocking people to continue to work, we are saying the law must take its course in relation to that. But we do have proactive measures so that we engage in terms of the beneficiation in our local areas, because we promote local economic development. But there are clear interventions, Thabo, that we have put in place. If people can go through our budget speech, we are now introducing a new concept of economy, which talks about social solidarity economy, which then involves communities, so that communities can partake in the economic activities of our municipality. So that's a program which is in place, and we'll be rolling out that program to ensure that we respond to the plight of the poor, we respond to the plight of those who have been locked out of the mainstream economy.
Right, Mayor, let's stick with that. We're going to come back in a moment. We're going to expand a little bit on that. The Mayor of eThekwini, Mxolisi Kaunda, with us tonight here on In Focus. Send us your views tonight on 072-110-5584 or your comments on Twitter at Newzroom405. In Focus continues in a moment. Welcome back with us tonight to the eThekwini Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda, talking about rebuilding and reconstructing the city, and of course the economic opportunities that will be made available and accessible to all. So here's a complaint, right, Mayor, from an architect, right, who says, look, we are pleading with the city to intervene and prevent community forums from disrupting the building projects. Now, you know, and I'm sure you're well aware of this business forum called Amadela Ngokubona. they don't necessarily come and ask nicely. They actually come there in force, and they halt operations of businesses. So if we are talking at a top level to say, oh, well, we are intervening, well, it doesn't really address, Mayor, as to how are you going to protect this company that's saying my operations are being disrupted?
Now look, Thabo, if you look at how the economy operates, we need to leverage from the value chain. Most of the industries and companies operate in our city. There are surrounding communities which are still stricken by high levels of poverty, the inequalities, as well as the high levels of unemployment. So all what we are presenting through our plans is to ascertain that we unlock the opportunities which already exist, which needs to be unlocked in relation to the value chain, and say, let's identify issues of your own inputs as the producers in our city. What do you need for you to produce the products that you are producing? Then we start expanding the participation in relation to that. But business forums who have been imposing themselves, we have put our position very clearly. We do not intend to degenerate to become a lawless society. So therefore, anyone who breaks the law must be dealt with decisively, so that we are able to cater for those who want to come forward, who want to engage us as their leadership of the municipality, to open up opportunities for them. But those who commit crime, who ask for extortions, coming to business, give us 2 million, give us 3 million, then we'll allow you to continue. That's what needs to be rejected in our society. And we are working tirelessly to ensure that through our eThekwini Economic Council, we are actually putting now plans in place. We have just signed our social compact with different sectors within the Economic Council to start responding, including the civil society, the labor, the business in our municipality, and ourselves as government, so that we commit and unite in this cohesive plan to ascertain that we become more responsive, especially to the aspirations of people of eThekwini, by ensuring that we start opening up opportunities. But we are not going to be allowing people who want to break the law in accessing those opportunities. Our position is very clear. We'll deal with them decisively. But those who want to access opportunities will be working very closely with them. And we have a plan for that, and we have put a task team of the municipality to work on that in advance, so that before the developments take place, we start engaging local communities who will become the beneficiaries of that development, raising awareness with them in terms of the job opportunities that will be there, as well as the business opportunities that will also be part of those particular big projects, especially our catalytic projects that are attracting more investment in our city to create a stable economy and the growth that will be more inclusive than the one that we've been observing before.
Right, Mayor, let's go then to the tensions, the question of the tensions that must be suppressed. We saw a march, I think today, of the religious leaders going to get information as to which cases have been opened and who's been prosecuted, for example, for the lives that have been lost in Phoenix and in Chatsworth, right? And that is, of course, the work that must be done by the police and those who are investigating. What's your view as the mayor in how this matter has been handled?
Yeah, as much as we commend committees who stood and rose to the occasion to defend their properties, to ensure they defend businesses, but we also condemn especially the murders that we have observed in areas like Phoenix, killing of people, judging them because of their own skin and the racial group that they belong to as Africans. It's totally wrong. It brings us back to apartheid, which we have defeated as the country, and we are working in unison to ensure that we embrace our unity in diversity. And I can tell you with certainty that in eThekwini, there is no white community area, there is no Indian community area. People are integrated because people have access to these places as long as they afford to buy properties in these places. So those opportunistic elements who find it the opportune time to ensure that they start raising the racial cards on this. They need to be rejected in committees, and they need to be treated as criminals, because those are people who do not belong in our society. We need to work together to bring communities together to reject them, but they must be arrested. And we have made a call, and we are happy that the Minister of Police have put a specialized investigating team to look at these matters, and the members of the committee have been made aware that those who've got information, who can really collaborate with the police to give necessary information so that it can lead to the apprehending of those who are involved. They must be arrested, and they don't belong to our communities.
Right. Mayor, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I mean, I'm not going to let you go without talking about it. There are those who have pointed a finger at you yourself. They've said you have incited violence and you should not have taken part in the campaign or the Free Zuma campaign, particularly publicly on your social platform. How do you respond to that?
They provoked me. They're the ones who issued public statements to say, looking from my personal page where I said, we are Zuma, Zuma is us, and he must be released. That's a call that I made on my personal page, not even on my official page. Then they issued public statements saying that that statement on its own, it incites violence. And I couldn't understand, how does it incite violence when I say I support someone? So I don't see anything wrong with that. And I've only come public because they've been issuing public statements. I had to clear myself to the public and also clarify that there's not even a single word that incites violence in that support which I've expressed. And I see no reason why I should apologize, because they said I must apologize for supporting Zuma. No, I don't think that would be correct for me to do. But what is correct is to ensure that we respect people's right, the freedom of speech. Those who do not feel that President Zuma must be released is their own right. Those who feel that President Zuma must be released because they think that there are injustices meted against him, they've got the right to do so. Like the other groups who have been protesting in this country, in the main, that was white community along our beach who were calling for Zuma to fall. So no one disturbed them because they had that right to say they feel that Zuma must fall. So those who feel that Zuma must be released is their own constitutional right to express their feeling. So the reason why I had to go public is because people have issued public statements, so I couldn't respond to them through some corners. I had to go public and open up what is my feeling on the matter.
Yeah. In light of the fact that that particular campaign is what sparked the unrest, it was not, of course, the main reason, that sparked it and it catapulted and it became criminal, it became all sorts of other things that came with that particular unrest. In retrospect, do you think as the mayor it would have been the correct platform to have ventilated that?
Yeah, let me tell you, there are many interest groups who joined the call. Some of them, they came to join the call because they want to pursue their own narrow interest groups. So that if you look at the number of interest groups who have joined this call, some of them, when you converge these interests, which they superseded the original call of release of President Zuma. Some of people who have joined, some of them, they commit crime. Some of them, they've been burning trucks because they are not satisfied with how government is responding on their issues. Some of them are business forums which have been raising their plight in terms of accessing the economy. But in the main, they are poor people who are part and parcel of our society, whom we as government and the leaders in the society, we need to respond to their plight because they need job opportunities, they need business opportunities. So it's up to us to take our rightful position to provide necessary leadership so that those people will be able to access opportunities. So there are many interest groups whom were able to raise their anger, but really behind the very same call that have been made of releasing Jacob Zuma. So I do not see any problem, but when people, they deliberately decide to take the matter publicly, so I had to go public and clarify my role. And some notorious individuals, when I was speaking in Verulam, they took a particular portion of my clip when I was explaining a voice note, which was saying go and kill white people and Indian communities, burn their houses after we have looted malls. So I was explaining that they only took that portion. When I was explaining that voice note, it was now felt as if the mayor is now directing people and go and kill other community members. So those are the things which I had to clarify publicly. Otherwise, I would have not gone publicly to clarify myself on those issues. But I needed to provide leadership. I needed to give guidance in terms of asking and appealing to our committees not to follow everything that is posted on social media and the voice notes that are circulated, which have sparked some racial tensions within the municipality.
Yeah. Mayor, do you believe there was an attempt at an insurrection in the country?
I believe that this situation has exposed us to many things that we need to attend to. Part of that is that the levels of inequality still persist in our country, so therefore we need to be responsive to that. So there are many other aspects which have fueled the anger which we have seen, as much as we are not condoning what people have done. Looting must not be allowed in our society. Criminality must be rejected. But we also need to open our eyes and ensure that we become more responsive to the aspirations of South Africans. We are not equal. The economy of ours does not serve all people of this country. It needs to be inclusive. It needs to unlock opportunities for those who have been locked out of the mainstream economy. Therefore, it becomes the leadership role that we need to play as leaders in the society to provide the solutions in those challenges that are still confronting our communities. The issue of racism is not going to be resolved now, but some aspect of it need to be resolved now through our social cohesion programs that we are engaging on, whilst we are still faced with dealing with the contradictions that still persist in our society, where we are not the equal people in our same country, and our economy does not serve all of us. So we need to confront those issues, and if we do not do so, then we'll be finding ourselves being unable to resolve some of the matters that will always confront us moving forward.
10 seconds, quick one. I'll ask you again. Do you believe there was an attempt at an insurrection?
My belief and our belief is that there are issues which still needs to be attended on the ground. And
all right,
we need to attend to
I'm going to leave you there. All right, much appreciated. That's the Mayor of eThekwini, Mxolisi Kaunda. Appreciate your time tonight.